right. Welcome, welcome. I see my microphone box flapping on, so I think that we're live. I hope everybody can hear me okay. So we're going to get started. I am so excited. Welcome everyone to the first Lift the Conversation live event. My name is Chrisy Etheridge. I'm the founder of Lift the Veil. I'm going to be going into that in just a minute, but I wanted to go into detail about what Lift the Veil is and why you're here in this community. So Lift the Veil is an almost official 501c3 nonprofit. We are here to break the silence around addiction. We're building tools for families, communities, and everyday people to better understand addiction, reduce stigma, and support each other through truth and compassion. So I'm so excited to have you here. So like I said, my name is Chrisy Etheridge. I am the founder of Lift the Veil, which was created out of a heartbreaking loss of my son, William, earlier this year. He died in March of what we assume to be a suspected accidental fentanyl overdose. We are still pending the autopsy, but this is what we're assuming based on the evidence that was around him and the things that were going on in his life at that time. And so I knew that I just couldn't stay silent. I knew there were just thousands of other families, not just in the small community where William lived outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and Murfreesboro, but also here in Las Vegas where I live, and just thousands of other families out there holding on to pain, dealing with these issues, dealing with these accidental overdoses, dealing with loved ones that are suffering from addiction. And I just could not stay silent. And I knew I had to turn the pain that I experienced into purpose. So I'm just so grateful that you guys are here tonight. We start where the story really begins, not with the substances. We're not going to do education in that regard, but with the pain, because addiction is a behavioral issue. It isn't a behavioral issue. It's a human issue. So we're going to talk about that today. So as we are almost an official 501c3, hopefully this week or next, we're going to get our approval from the IRS. We need help. So what do we need? We need volunteers. If you have a love or a passion that you like to help, whether or not it's party planning, helping us solicit donors, helping us get reach outs and doing community events, please know that we are in search of volunteers. We are also in search of potential donors, certainly business donors, sponsors, and then personal donors as well. So, and we don't have really anything to sell rather than except for our merchandise that gets our message out. And so our money is going to come from grants, from donations, from sponsorships, and people just like you watching this. So I just thank you so much for being here. And then thirdly, we need a community willing to share our mission, whether or not that means you share this group, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, whether or not you just share our post on social media. If you post and you buy the red bracelet, you tag that, we'll have all of this information coming soon. And if you have any questions or you want to volunteer or you know any potential donors or you're just willing to say, what do you need to happen? You can contact us. You can certainly message me through the Mighty Networks group. You can email us at info@ltvproject.org or go to ltvproject.org, which is our website. Go to /contact and fill out that form and let us know how you want to help. So today we're going to talk about why do they use, understanding the deeper wound. Again, my name is Chrisy Etheridge. If you have any questions whatsoever, message me within the Mighty Networks group, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. This is a little bit about our Mighty Networks community. I just wanted to share with you, and I didn't finish the screen before I started. Today's been a crazy day, but it is a free community. I chose Mighty Networks because it is off of social media platforms. So instead of doing a Facebook group or something like that, I decided to use this Mighty Networks community. You can certainly download the app, so it's easy to use on your phone. You can also access it from your community. What I love about it is that you will get email notifications about different events, courses, fundraisers, discussions, and then this brand new weekly Lift the Conversation that we're going to do every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. What does that turn out to be? 9 Pacific Eastern time, and anywhere in between, you can kind of figure out what your time zone conversion is. You can also share your personal link. I wanted to show you this right here. As you share your personal link to friends and family, what you're going to do is you can go up here to Lift the Veil header, or you can go into members, and there's a small little add member invite, I think is what it says. When you click on that, you're going to get your own personal link that you share with friends and family. That's going to get you, they're going to link it to you, meaning that the platform's going to recognize that you sent the invite. And then you, as you invite more and more people, you'll actually get some badges like a silver or a bronze or a gold badge based on how many people you're sharing it with. So please let anybody that friends and family that want to support Lift the Veil, interested in addiction, or possibly have a friend or family that is going through it right now and need help, even if they've lost somebody like I have, just make this community aware. I want to just raise the roof, have at least 100 people in there by our launch month this month. And then as we just continue to grow, add more and more people. Today, we're going to talk about 2 teaching segments. Can I get out of this really quick and go into our Mighty Networks section right here? Let me share with you what we're going to go over today. So we're in the events right now. What I want to share with you right now is, sorry, let me get this out so I don't have any lag. Lots of activities today. I apologize about that. What I want to show you right here, we're going to be going over in this advocate program course. It's called Lift the Veil Advocate Program. And this is a free course that it opens up as you get to each section. There are a couple of little quizzes within there that you can learn about. But we're going to go over lesson 1 and lesson 1.1 and lesson 1.3 today. So if you've already done it, this might be a recap. If you haven't done it, please go through this Lift the Veil Advocate program and check this out. This is certainly a self-paced thing. You can see there's a lot of modules. Each one talks about the different, things that are really important to understand about addiction and why addiction occurs, what to say, what not to say, how to really, what I call, lean in on the person that's dealing with the addiction rather than blocking, reducing conversations, or even, not really participating because you don't know what to say. That's what this is all about, is really just trying to figure out how to lean in with them. So we're going to go over lesson 1, what addiction really is, and then lesson 1.3, which is the human side of addiction today. So what addiction really is, this is 1.1, okay? So what I want you to really understand, and maybe before we get started within this comment section, if you can put a comment, if not, you can do it within the event page. You can certainly do this. What I'd like you to think about is a word that comes to mind that describes like how you're showing up tonight. Are you curious? Are you hopeful? Are you nervous? Are you open? Is this something that you're brand new at and you have no idea? Or are you an expert in addiction? Maybe you work in addiction medicine. I'd love to just really know where you're at in this space. Okay. So as we kind of pause with that, there's one more thing that I do want you to know. Within our group really quick, when it comes to this event, I'm going to pop over to the event tab over here, and within our event page, just click on that link really quick and you can pop in. There is a free companion resource that I would like you to download and print. If you click on that button right here, it's What Drives Addiction. And so if you haven't had a chance, or if you want to pause the video if you're watching this later, then I want you to just go in and click this and print this off, okay? Because there's going to be some reflection prompts. There's going to be some ideas about, how can we get into the right mindset when it comes to helping ourselves or helping our loved ones. Some of you might actually be having to help yourself first, right? And that's okay. Maybe going through this, you recognize that there's an addiction that you need to work on. Maybe you realize that there isn't, a lot of support in your community, and you're not really sure whether or not you've actually got something that you've got to work on. But most of us are here, or actually, that's not true. There's a lot of us that are here that are suffering from different addictions. But there's a lot of us here that are also supporting a loved one with addiction. Maybe they're past, like my William, or they're currently going through it right now and kind of dealing with it. So we're going to talk about that. So what I want you to really contemplate and wrap your brain around and understand is that addiction is not a moral failing. It's a brain-based condition. Addiction rewires the brain and the brain's reward system, particularly the dopamine pathways. People use the substance to cope, not just to get high. Okay. It's a really big mindset, right? There's a lot of people that believe that addiction is a choice, that people do it to themselves, that it's their problem, that, it's their weakness. And that is truly not the case. What we're discovering more and more as we look at the brain and we look at the reward system, this truly changes the wiring of the brain and creates this cravings and relapse that aren't about just a moral failing or a weakness. It is truly about their neurobiological patterns. Okay. So that's just a different mindset for us to really understand. So most of us, like I just said, think addiction is about poor choices, but science tells us otherwise. Addiction affects motivation, pleasure, and decision making. And so that's why people can know it's hurting them and those around them, but still continue to feel powerless to stop. It is not about the drugs either. Gambling, social media, food, behavioral addiction follows the exact same brain patterns as substance addiction. Okay. So what is the addiction cycle? We binge, we withdraw, and then we obsess. And this is just kind of the most basic form of an addiction cycle. This process might happen within hours, days, or weeks. Okay. So binging and intoxication, you get that relief or euphoria of whatever it is that the pain, emotional typically, that you're trying to escape. Then as the substance leaves your body or the dopamine reaction leaves, now you're in withdrawal and have a negative effect. The pain, you might actually have pain and guilt and cravings. And then you start to preoccupy and anticipate because the brain is constantly seeking relief again. So think about this. Think about this cycle. In someone who's emotionally hurting, the substance isn't the real problem. It's their attempted solution. So when we ask why the addiction, what we really should be asking is why the pain. Okay. I hope that resonates with everybody. I hope you really understand as we kind of get through this. And so the National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA, they state, this is their statement, addiction is a chronic, treatable disorder involving complex interactions between the brain circuits, genetics, the environment, and life experiences. And so I really want you to kind of think about this when you think about a loved one that might be dealing with an addiction, someone that's past and what they've experienced before in our interactions, right? Go back to that moral failing and think about how we, kind of made it sound like, how dare you? Like I think about William and I think about, that I could only imagine like his children's mothers just looking at him going like, how dare you not want to stop? How dare you not want to spend time with your family, particularly in the last couple of months of his life. He was in this from like learning stories and now piecing all the stories together. I realized that he was in this deep cycle in the very end, that it was just absolutely that compulsive behavior, getting back to that like addiction cycle. There was nothing else, in my humble opinion, that he wanted. It's just to relieve those cravings over and over and really, again, kind of understanding his story and how we relate to everyone else's story, the pain, the emotional pain he was going through, over different life choices. It wasn't anybody's fault. but he's a family man, through and through, and he loved his children so much. And they moved out, they weren't home, and I think he was really struggling and really sad. And so, not to get too much into his story because we're here for everyone's story, but we really need to understand that it's truly, the science and the story is the person suffering from the addiction. And our jobs, what I hope Lift the Veil will do, is bring compassion and change to those suffering from addiction. So I want you to just pause and think, what changes when we stop seeing addiction as a failure and we start seeing it as pain? Trying to speak. I'm sorry, I'm getting so emotional thinking about Will, and it's just really hard. So the human side of addiction, right? I've already kind of brought that up a little bit, bringing in William's story, but this isn't someone else's story. It could truly be anyone's, right? Addiction just doesn't affect other people. It affects parents, nurses, teachers, veterans, teenagers, neighbors, even ourselves. But regardless, it's people just like us. So we really have to start removing that stigma behind how we perceive what that person is, that addict, right? We want to get rid of that language. And that's where a lot of our conversations are coming into. And the purpose of Lift the Veil is to bring the stigma and the bias, our own personal bias. That's how we are going to create change and truly help those people around us. So the human side of addiction. Addiction affects people we know and love. It's not those people. Behind every struggle is a story, which is often hidden in plain sight. So before we judge, we need to understand the full picture. So I'm going to talk about Mike, and Mike is obviously not his real name, but that's what we're going to call him right now. Tonight, I want to share a story about someone called Mike. He's a firefighter, a husband, and a protector by nature. After a car accident, Mike was prescribed pain medication. At first it helped, but eventually it led to a dependency, first on the pills and then heroin. His wife, a nurse, and someone I know personally, shared with me what it was like to be on the other side. We had a really in-depth conversation about this, and she described just absolute hell. I don't know what else to say. She described nights working in the ER, trying to FaceTime him on her breaks, maybe not even on her breaks, not just to say hi to him, but literally to make sure that he didn't overdose while she was at work. She begged his fire chief and others in leadership for help, but no one stepped in and no one wanted to talk about it. The stigma was too strong. She shared the fear and desperation of trying to keep it quiet. And watching Mike's attempt to not only detox at home alone, it broke her. It devastated her. I could just feel the pain when she was telling me these stories. The lies, the panic, the heartbreak of not knowing what to do, and she had no one else to ask. So this is why we're here. This is what Lift the Veil is about, because silence does not protect our loved ones. It isolates them, and it leaves families like Mike's trying to carry something too big, too heavy, and too misunderstood alone. So have you ever known someone struggling silently like Mike? Maybe the reasons why the addiction are different. Maybe the struggle is different as to why it started, whatever. But what would you have needed if you were Mike's partner? What would you have needed if you were Mike's mother, Mike's brother, Mike's sister? What would you have needed? Put that in reflection to me. If you knew William, what would you have needed to help him deal with his pain? So again, addiction is a coping strategy. It's not a moral failing. It often begins with unmet emotional needs, trauma, or disconnection. When we judge the behavior, we silence the story. I'm going to try to figure out how to share Johan Hari. He spoke in a TED Talk, and I shared it to a few people. I'm not sure if I shared it in the group, but he talked about Rat Park. And I'll post it. I don't want to ruin his speech, so I'll let you hear it and figure out how to post it to the group. But ultimately, his discussion says the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. And when you listen to Rat Park, the Rat Park scenario, you'll understand it. So I've come to believe that this is deeply true. We have to start reconnecting people to their own story, their own value, and their community. And like I said earlier, we have to lean in on the person rather than leaning away. I want you to think about, and I put this in a comparison when William's story came to light and after he died. So imagine if someone you love, I want you to think about the person that you know that is struggling with addiction, the reason why you're here. Imagine if they would have come to you and told you that they had been diagnosed with cancer, whatever that might be, right? Whether or not it's an age group like William, like a testicular cancer, or if it's a young mother that just got told she had breast cancer, or an older person that just got told they had colon cancer, whatever the age demographic is, like just put that story in place. And then I want you to think about how your response would be. Now, maybe you just say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, whatever you need, I can help you. You know, do you need something set up with childcare? Do you need food? Do you need me to get a prayer chain going in church? What do you need, right? I would imagine that the response, until we start connecting addiction with a brain biological issue and actually rewiring of the brain instead of a moral failing, if that exact same person would have come to you and said, I'm addicted to heroin, I have a fentanyl addiction, I have been prescribed pain pills and I'm addicted to them, I'm addicted to alcohol. If somebody would come to you, and most people won't even, right? Like there's no stigma anymore attached to breast cancer. I joked with some residents I talked to about this exact point, save the Tatas and the pink Mustangs and all the things that Ford did and all the things with the pink ribbon campaigns. There's not a stigma anymore with breast cancer. It's sad and it's scary as shit. And I understand all that, but there's not a stigma. You're not ashamed to say you have cancer. But people are ashamed to step forward and say they have addiction. I want you to start thinking about what it would be like if we brought the exact same fear, respect, and like just the help, the outpouring of help. If that same person came to you and told you they had cancer, than if they came to you and told you they had an addiction. That's what I want us to start changing. So please download the PDF. Please look at this reflection guide. Please read it and kind of go through it. If you need more writing space, you can flip it over, get a journal. If you want to share, I would love for you to share in the chat or in the comment space. If you're watching this on recording, hold a space for it. Share a word or a sentence after you go through the PDF and reflection. What did that mean for you? There's a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind. We do have campaigns that create impact. This is going to be how we fund, not only from grants and donors and sponsorships and our annual campaigns that we're going to start coming up with. But one of our evergreen campaigns is the Lift the Veil bracelet. These are on sale right now. The $10 donation allows for the shipping cost and the cost for everything to be put together. And Lift the Veil makes a few dollars off of it, but I want thousands of these bracelets out. It's silent. It's a silent but powerful signal that says you're not alone. Each bracelet honors a life touched by addiction in memory of and support of. For my families, allies, and advocates, I want everyone to get a bracelet. If you don't have it yet, please go to ltvproject.org. You can go find the shop section and buy yours today. It's only $10. We will be launching this very, very soon. It's called Ink That Lifts. It's going to be a line of temporary affirmation tattoos that speak directly to the heart. Obviously, you can see some of the examples that I've put together. Every tattoo will come with a message about our mission, a QR code linking to this community, and a prompt to wear it for yourself or someone you love. And so this is just going to be, we're going to try to partner with some tattoo artists that'll also have this both in Middle Tennessee and also Las Vegas. And then last but not least, I just want you to know that we're really going to start focusing on, I'm sorry about the fire alarm. I really want you to know that we're going to start focusing on stories that save lives. So if you want to message me or send me a message about what you're doing, how you're connected to somebody with addiction, go ahead and email info@ltvproject.org and make sure that you know that we care about your stories. If you're willing to share a picture, a video of your loved one, just really figure that out. And then ways to get involved, of course, bring people to the community. Help, like, let me know if you want to host a speaker or an event in your local area, maybe your church, your job, things like that. Volunteer, donate, and share your story, but make sure you get a bracelet. Every bracelet, every story, every conversation is one step towards ending silence around addiction. I cannot thank you enough for joining us. I know we've got the ambiance of the fire alarm that's so funny at the end of this, but I cannot express how much, whether or not you watch this live with me or you're watching this in a recording, thank you for spending 30 minutes of your time with me. We're going to do this every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. I think it comes out to be 9 p.m. Eastern time. But thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again and again every week. Have a blessed